Hey everybody, hope all is well, hope all is well. So let's converse because it is definitely a conversation. And today our guest is, please introduce yourself.
Legislator Scott Davis. My district is the first district, which is currently comprised of the village of Rockville Center and the village of Hempstead.
Okay, great. So I'm going to just go right in to start asking you some questions. So I'm going to first just kind of ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I grew up in Hempstead.
Okay.
Graduated Hempstead High School. Went on to the University of Buffalo. And from there, I went to Hofstra University and have been a lawyer since 1987. Once I had a family, I actually lived in Baldwin for a period of time, and then we moved to Rockville Center, and I've been in Rockville Center now for about 18 years.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, and how long you been in office?
I am completing my second year, first term.
Wow. So
Yes.
how have that been?
Well, although it's only been about a year or so, it's felt like a lot longer than that, and it's been a tremendous experience. I've learned quite a bit, and I really appreciate the responsibility of it and all the good that you can really do.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So, I also would like to know, could you tell us a little bit about your position and what it entails?
Sure. So I would say 80% of what I do is show up.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is going to different organizations in the community, civic associations, schools, clubs, neighborhoods, individuals, and meet with them to provide support for them. And it's been my experience that most often people really do appreciate that you show up and that you show support. And the other part of what I do is over in the legislature, which is what people see publicly, but that's where we enact laws, we deal with budgetary issues, appointments, and things of that nature. But a large measure of it is dealing with money, how it's allocated, making sure it's allocated appropriately is a big part of it.
Okay, excellent, excellent. That's really good to understand because if you don't understand what a legislator do, besides showing up and make sure that the money is allocated, then it makes it a little bit difficult for people to ask for certain
Sure.
things to be done.
So I'll say this to you. Most people don't even know what the legislature is. So I'm going to just start with the real basics of it, okay? So in Nassau County, the government that runs Nassau County is called the legislature.
Mhm.
And within the legislature, there are 19 districts that make up all of Nassau County. Of course, as I indicated to you, I have one district, legislative district number 1. And in that legislature, there are 12 Republicans, and they are the majority, and there are 7 Democrats. We are the minority.
Okay.
And for most things that require a vote, it's a simple majority. So with the majority being heavily on the Republican side, quite often they can do things without us stopping them because they have the majority,
Right.
12-7. But there are some things that require what's called a supermajority, where they need 13 votes and they only have 12. And that would be like for bonding for the capital plan would be a prime example of one of those things where they need us in order to bond for the capital plan.
Okay. So when we talk about some of the things that you actually can get passed, could you give us some examples of some stuff that you have brought to the legislator office to get passed? Because I know of one great thing that I'm excited about that you guys were able to do, but could you tell them some of the things that you have brought to the table?
Well, I'll tell you this, in the last year and a half that I've been there, any law that we have sponsored to try and get through, it's been throttled. It's been held back. It never makes it past the county executive's desk.
Okay.
And within the last year and a half, the highlights of what have gone through are the transgender issue, the mask ban, and the militia,
Right.
where the county executive Bruce Blakeman wants to have a militia, and that has been it in terms of laws. They call it local laws. Those
Right.
are the things that have been enacted in terms of laws. And anything we've tried to do, it's really being stifled right now, just because of the composition of the legislature, and we don't have the numbers right now.
Okay, so I also know that there was mention of some of the things that you try to get passed. So, for example, I know that there's a big conversation going on right now based on the fact that there were 32 things that were passed for one group
Sure.
and 0 for the other.
So,
could you break that down for everyone?
100%, and thank you for that. And this is a tremendous opportunity to educate the public on what's actually going on in the legislature regarding this issue. So, among all 19 legislators, we are allocated resources, money, to bring to our community.
Right.
That we call it CRPs, it's community revitalization projects.
Right.
And we have a source of money every year that we get. It's allocated, it's already accounted for. And we go into our community, and where there are needs and they meet with the legal requirements, we submit proposals, and then they go through the process in the county, they're approved, and the money is distributed. Over the last year and a half, the Republicans have submitted 32 CRPs, and every single one of those CRPs have been granted.
Okay.
During that same period of time, the Democrats have submitted 34 CRPs, and not a single one of them has made it into the process of being allocated. They haven't made it past the county executive's desk.
Right.
And for us as Democrats, we're looking at this, and the number is 32 to nothing.
Right.
And that is patently unacceptable. And this is money that we have, and we're not being allowed to allocate that.
Right.
And so the way that we've responded to that, the county executive, Bruce Blakeman, wants to borrow money for the capital plan.
Okay.
And as I indicated earlier, in order to bond for the capital plan, you need the supermajority.
Right.
So he needs one vote from the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And as the minority caucus, we have stuck together, and we have indicated that we are not going to give him that vote
Right.
until our CRPs make it off of his desk and into the process, like the 32 others for the Republicans.
Right.
And it's really a very simple issue. Move them off your desk and put them in the process.
Right.
When we have assurances that that's going to happen for our requests, the way they were for the Republicans, we will vote for the capital plan, because we actually support all that's in the capital plan.
Right.
And we have communicated as much as we can with the county executive, and there has been no response.
Right.
At all. And it's just simply unacceptable. All 19 districts are in Nassau County.
Right.
All 19 districts should have allocation of their money in the same way.
Right.
There should be equity in that fashion. So, as a response to what we've done, the county executive is casting out a false narrative that the Democrats don't care about building streets better and first responders and the police, and he's conveniently ignoring that number,
Right.
that 32 to nothing number. So I encourage all of you to ask Bruce Blakeman about that 32 to nothing and ask him why that is. It's very simple. And in terms of the requests that we have, those 34 requests that we have, there's over $1 million in those requests for first responders, for ambulance, firefighters, police departments.
Right.
So it's not that we don't care, it's actually that we do care.
Right.
But we care about everybody, not just the 12 Republican districts. And that's the issue. And I really appreciate that you've given me this opportunity to educate the public on the reality of what's going on. And you can do something about it. You can call your county executive. You can email your county executive, because that's exactly what he did when we didn't vote. He gave his email list of people all of the Democratic emails and telephone numbers, told them to call us and to write us, to tell us to vote yes. And I will tell you, that's been an abysmal failure.
Wow.
Because we don't, what he was looking for, he's not getting.
Right.
It's been a dribble of anyone who's been calling or sending emails.
Right.
And I believe the reason why is because it's 32 to nothing.
Right.
And there is just no explanation for that. And he cast it aside as pet projects. Well, first responders aren't pet projects.
Right.
One of the requests in the CRPs was from my predecessor, Kevon Abraham.
Mm.
And that was to allocate money for Marshall Park. Now, Marshall Park, for those who you don't know, and those who you do, is a little over a mile away from the legislature. And it goes past Garden City.
Right.
And it's right off Terrace Avenue, one of the most notorious places in Hempstead. And what we want to do in Marshall Park is make that a place for young children to go, a safe place where they can go outside and they can have recreation, where adults can go, where they can not only go there with modern, up-to-date facilities, but do something as simple as go to the bathroom or get a drink of water. So that's not a pet project. That is a transformative idea that we have plans for. And quite frankly, if the county executive really did care, he would make that a priority.
Right.
And it's not.
Well, this is really sad that this is taking place, because I know I've been a part of what's taking place at Marshall Park, and it's definitely, a need for those children to have a safe place to play. And I know our mayor is doing everything right along with the board to make sure that we start the process and
Sure.
building out the park. And we thank you for the fact that you have that in there and pushing for it. So not having the CRPs, which they already have 32, and you put in 34. So the capital plan, we agree that is something that's needed. But however, the problem is that unless we get the 34 things that are asked, those CRPs, that's the only way that we're going to agree to the capital plan. Is that correct?
What we're
That we
asking
want all
for,
34.
what we want is all 34 to go through the process.
Right.
They have gone not even to step one.
Okay.
If they go through the process, whatever qualifies. If there's something that doesn't qualify for whatever reason, we're okay with that. But let's just have an honest conversation about what's going on.
Right.
And what's going on is they haven't made it to step one. We want assurances that they go through the process and that we are kept up to date with the progress.
Right.
So we can assure ourselves that we're being treated as fairly in our communities as the 12 Republican districts. And that's a simple ask. And there's no reason that this shouldn't be done.
Right. Because this is just essential stuff that all communities need.
That is correct.
So I guess my next question is that being that this is essential stuff that all community needs, and they need that extra vote, which makes it 13 for them, which is the super majority.
Correct.
Is there anyone that's on the opposite side, which are the Republicans, that are also speaking on behalf to say, hey, you know what? There's no reason for us to go back and forth. Let us pass this so we could be able to give them the 34, and because you have done this in our community and everybody deserves the same thing.
Well, so the talking points from the other side are, we'll take care of that. We'll take care of the 34 requests you have. The ones that haven't been responded to in a year and a half.
Right.
They're saying, don't you care about the capital plan? Just give us your vote on the capital plan and we'll trust us.
Right.
We'll process these things. And we don't trust them.
Right.
And we have 32 reasons why we can't trust them.
Okay.
And it's just a very simple, basic issue.
Right.
Economic equality for everybody.
That's right. The quality of life.
Absolutely.
Right. So is there a phone number that they can reach out to? Can you tell them what day is it that we need to show up? Because the same way that we put our legislator in office is the same way we have to make sure we show support. We have to show up. We have to get out there and make noise because they need us to speak on their behalf because they're sitting there speaking for us. These are for the quality of life for all of us. And there's no reason why we shouldn't get our fair share.
So the next legislative session is 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
Yes.
Okay.
And the session starts at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
There is a public comment opportunity, and I would suggest if anyone wants to appear and have a public comment, get there a little bit early. You go in, you sign the slip of paper, you submit it to the clerk, and you'll be allowed, and they do enforce it, 3 minutes to speak out. And if you are inclined to speak out, it's an excellent opportunity to go, and you could speak to the full legislature. It's recorded. Newsday is there. The Post is there, so that everyone knows who you are and that you're one of those people that's affected. We need to put faces to this issue. And this is a very similar issue to what I know you're familiar with, the fight for American Rescue Plan money for the water.
Yes.
In Hempstead.
Yes.
And that was a very similar situation where the legislature was allocated a pot of money, and the Republican legislator submitted a proposal for the cleaning up the water in Farmingdale.
Right.
And he received an allocation of $1 million. And when we learned about that, we said, well, then we're going to do the same for Hempstead because it's the same issue.
Exactly.
And it took us 9 months. And you know what it was like.
Yes.
With press conferences, op-ed pieces, speaking in the legislature, and everything else. And the only reason that we got it was because they needed our vote for an issue. We said, you don't get our vote until we get our water.
Right.
And the minority caucus stuck together. And they made the water, allocation of this money for water in Hempstead, an issue. And finally we got it. But the part about it that's most disappointing is about 2 weeks ago, Bruce Blakeman sent a flyer out all over Hempstead, patting himself on the back for helping get $1.75 million to help clean up the water in Hempstead.
Wow.
And the fact of the matter is, the truth of the matter is, he was the biggest impediment. And the only reason we got that money is because we played hardball with him.
Wow.
That's the truth. He went to Mayor Hobbs' swearing in
I saw him there.
and said the same thing, that patted himself on the back and gave credit to Mayor Hobbs, himself, and Silabino for getting that money. And I will tell you the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is Silabino and I worked together along with Mayor Hobbs to get that money.
Right.
That's the truth of what happened. And so just when you hear things, history will prove itself out.
Right.
And everything you are told isn't the truth.
Right. Well, I totally know that is the truth. I lived it, I walked it, and I understand it. And that's why I'm having you here today, to actually bring clarity, to make sure that people are aware of what's really happening. You know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of discussion, there is a lot of talk, and there's a lot that people are actually doing. And that's why it's important that when we put people in office, that we show them, not only did we put you in office, but also we support you. So we have to show up. So please make sure that you guys show up. I believe that is on April 23rd at 1 o'clock, and voice your concerns, voice your opinions, and make sure that you let them know that, you know what, it shouldn't continue, because everybody deserves a good quality of life. And we have to thank our legislator, Scott Davis, for coming in today. And we also want to acknowledge the fact that you're about to run again.
That is correct. Thank you so much. There has been redistricting, and so for the next election cycle, my district will change. Legislative District Number 1 will no longer be Rockville Center and Hempstead alone.
Wow.
The new district will be all of Rockville Center, all of South Hempstead, the southern part of the village of Hempstead near the Southern State Parkway, North Baldwin, north of Seaman Avenue, and all of Roosevelt.
Okay, so certain parts of Hempstead you won't actually have. Now, is that the part where our new legislator have?
So there will actually be in the new District 3
There's
legislator.
another one added.
There's 3 legislators for Hempstead. So if you think about it, there's a southern part, which I have. There will be an eastern part that Alina Nix has, and then there'll be a western part for whoever wins the election for that part of Hempstead.
Okay, well, right now, we thank you for what you're doing, and we look forward for you to continue to serve us in the coming years.
Well, I look forward to it, and I thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to coming back again. And should anyone have any questions, please feel free to reach out to my office, and I'll be glad to answer them. And if this issue really upsets you regarding that 32-0 number, I encourage you to email Bruce Blakeman or call his office and express how you feel about that.
That's right. It's definitely a conversation, and we just finished conversing about it. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.